We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's gonna make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Hello and welcome to the Martensville Aly Jenkins Mixed Doubles Memorial. My name is Marty Thompson. I'm joined by Sean Joyce on the call for today's game. Matsumura Tanida versus Raniseth Crough here again at the Martensville Curling Club in Saskatchewan. First stones here from the number 4th ranked team in the world in blue here, coming all the way from Japan. And this is a very formidable team. Lots of upweight ability, Sean. This should be a good one.
Yeah, you certainly expect a good one. A number of the teams in this event actually got a chance to play last weekend in Vernon as well. That was on Curling Stadium as well. So the teams that are playing a lot have got kind of a series that they're playing in right now. And you expect them to be, even though we're just the start of October, pretty close to mid-season form here already. They've been playing so much.
Yeah, good to bunch all the events together for sure. Raniseth Crough out of Calgary, Alberta, their first stone here, trying to draw around. A nice placement on that first draw. And we see Kaylee Raniseth here shooting the first and last in this mixed doubles discipline. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be checking in the chat here shortly as we get our first shape here in the first end. Curling pretty good. It was first draw this morning. It seemed like things were moving quite a bit, which is kind of what you want for doubles, a little bit of that half pipe effect, so to speak. And this one's going to come in real nice and sit just at the top of the lid. So not a bad little draw there. And we go to the middle 3 here with Yuta Matsumura.
Yeah, we're getting things a little. It'll be interesting for all the announcers this week. This weekend, because we're getting backwards this week. Last week it was doubles in Vernon and there was a men's event in Martensville. It's the other way around this week. We're playing doubles in Martensville. I did see a couple of the games in the men's event in Martensville. Didn't look like it had quite as much curl as what we see here in this first couple of shots. Now I will say I know that the rocks in Martensville are brand new this year, and they might have been a little gentle on them the first place. You don't want them to go crazy, but it looks like James Gordon, who's the ice maker, it looks like he might have been a little more aggressive with the pre-event conditioning here, because look at that curl.
That's some good intel, Sean. Thank you. Yeah, I know you're not far from Martensville, so that's good to to have that local intel. Yeah, it's tough with doubles where I've certainly heard other methodologies and other suggestions, but in reality, it is just great to have a ton of curl. Mostly because you can get just about anywhere, but also it makes the run back a little bit harder, right? It sort of changes. I think it ultimately complements the discipline a little bit better.
Well,
and
for sure,
a good example of this.
You need it for the 4-player nowadays too. It's just a better game with lots of curl. You can make all the shots; they're all possible. But the doubles in particular, it is a come around finesse game, and if you don't have the curl, it's hard to play those shots.
And just a little narrow on that one. We've had a couple in the first draw as well, sort of come all the way around. Just maybe getting used to exactly how much this is curling. Now, from the shot perspective here for the Japanese side, pretty straightforward. Just try to attack that red one. As I said, a lot of upweight ability here, specifically for Matsumura with the blue rocks. Yeah, just about right there.
Yeah, all the teams can play the upweight. They won't play it as much in the doubles because it's a lot of times it's about finessing the rocks. But here's the situation in the house where there's 2 freezes. All the angles in the house right now facing are favoring Matsumura and Tanida. They really need to open this up so they can use the angles. There's nothing good in the house right now for Raniseth and Crough.
The upweight coming here, aimed at that guard, and they will peel away quite nicely. So a decent shot there for blue, and now the team from Calgary has to reassess.
Yeah, quite patient. I mean, he could have tried playing the blue straight back too. The problem with that is if you don't make it, you still leave it guarded. I thought he might have played the red over the top of the blue, and I'm not sure if that's the call or not, but then they could have brought it back into the pile and moved one of those angles right now.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Half the time you're just playing to the shape in the 4-foot and doubles and trying to, imagine what's possible if you do something over the other. So this should be not a ton of weight on the hit to try to keep the shooter around the top 4, I think, Sean.
Yeah, and this is going to over curl on him again, and that's something he's going to have to watch. I mean, it's possible. I mean, I have to say, I at least don't know this team particularly well, but he might have a little bit of a soft in-turn, and with freshly conditioned rocks, and most our in-turn curls a little more anyway, but he's going to have a real hard time holding the line if he's letting it go soft. He's going to have to be a little bit more crisp with that release.
It's a great call, and sadly opens up this scoring area a little bit here for the Japanese team. Just a little poke there in the top 4, and it's going to start looking pretty nasty here for the team from Calgary.
Well, yes, but the team from Calgary has last rock. You could even just think about guarding this. Like, they just made the shot for you that when you peeled the guards the last one, you were hoping to have this shot open. Well, he just made it for you. Now, if you guard, what do?
Yeah, it's a good call. It's tough, right? It's it's the aggressiveness sometimes in doubles can look a little different, and then in this case, I think it's just let's see if we can get one in there and try to make them do a triple, I guess.
But the problem with that is he's coming to the face of his own blue. He's not going to be third shot. The red at the back is still going to be third, and if you're offline at all, you're making the double on the top 2 hard to miss, and it's going to move the backing.
It's coming in pretty good here. The call to keep it straight. Yeah, maybe just want to hang on a second, let this really come up.
Well, he's going to look to tap his own up, I guess. But I mean, it was already second shot. I'm not sure how much you gained out of that. And now the double on the blues, the top 2 blues, is pretty automatic. And you'll kill the back red one, which is, you kind of have to do that if you're going to have any chance to get that shot rock out down the road. I'm not sure they needed to come in that deep.
Well, final stone here for Evan Crough, and switching to the out turn for this hit. A little bit extra weight, so you can get a little bit of granite moving here out of the 4-foot and start to bring these other red rocks in play. You can see them just around Kaylee there. It's certainly an opportunity to open the scoring area for red. Smidge wide, and he stuffs it a little bit. So now's another opportunity. Here's the guard for the team from Japan, just to try to ensure that they're gonna have a really tough draw to try to get one here.
Yeah, no, granted, from what we've seen of the ice here in this opening end, it does look like you could make that draw. I mean, you look at the hack view; they can't see much of the button, but the way it curls in, it's probably still there. It's not the shot you want to have to play in the first end, though.
Yeah, certainly not. You can't ask for a better set at the end of a doubles end if you don't have the hammer. Just having those 2 top 4, one at the back button, that's an incredibly difficult draw. You just have to make sure that you don't give them the hit here. So final stone here for the team from Japan, Matsumura Tanida. A draw looks like they're calling for a guard rather. Looks like they're calling for a tight guard.
Yeah, just line it up. It's more important than having it tight. You'd hate to come in and leave him a triple for 3.
maybe just a smidge deeper than they wanted to. Is that worth it?
Oh, yeah, for sure it is. Because that's a tough double, or a tough draw anyway, and if you don't make the draw perfect, it's probably 2 that you're giving up. You make the triple, it's for 2 anyway. The catcher in the 12-foot you might have a hard time clearing it, but if you clear it, it's for 3. It just depends on how you catch that one at the back of the button.
Yeah.
If you played the draw, there's a pretty good chance you're giving up 2 anyway. This is, when you're weighing risk and reward, this is worth the risk for sure.
Always difficult in the first end of a doubles game to assess when is the right time to kind of, push for that extra point or push for something. But I'd imagine with this lineup that they're going to be drawing, but I'm not sure. Typically in doubles, you want to have someone in the house for hits. We'll see here. Was it clear what they were doing?
A lot of points to be scored in doubles. I'd go for here. I was expecting them to make the guard. She's a little deep, and I wanted to illustrate. You look at that stone at the back of the button, and we're probably going to talk about this a lot over the course of the weekend, but that shows you just how important that first come around is. Because there it sits at the back of the button. It's still shot rock as she's coming down. Yeah, looks like she's throwing the draw.
All right, final stone here in this first end. Raniseth Crough versus Matsumura Tanida. On it right away. You can't really afford to be awfully tight on this either.
No, if you're tight on this, you could give up 3, and well light apparently.
Okay, so 2 for blue, a steal of 2 in the first end. We'll be right back with the second end here from Martensville.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
What you got? You got 1, you got 2, yeah!
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
So the stream's good. Perfect. Oh, almost left. There we go. Hello and welcome back to Martensville for the Aly Jenkins Mixed Doubles Memorial Martensville Curling Club. Steal of 2 to start this first end here between Matsumura and Tanida and Raniseth Crough. And the draw is a little heavy. So, Sean, I'm glad you mentioned the importance of that first come around. And when you do end up behind the tee line, even bumping back that other rock, it really can change the complexion for the other team in many aspects.
Yeah, it does. There's already going to be more scoring area this end than there was last end. Last end, they made it to the freeze. And it is at the back of the 4-foot. So, I mean, even if they make the freeze, you've got the button. But that's a much smaller house than, if they came down and tapped this one again, the entire 4-foot's open. And I expect here on this shot, they're probably just looking to freeze. Get to the nose or the inside. They'll always be able to get rid of that blue. Whereas last end, they had trouble getting rid of that blue.
Great draw weight there, throwing it into the cover there behind the tee line. Good little shape, and we'll see if this Japanese team can just maybe even poke that red rock a little bit. I'm not sure if you can even just sort of nudge it slightly and you get a better shape in the 4-foot. We'll see what ends up happening here with this draw. Looks pretty frozen though.
Yeah, and it's at a really good angle too. Like for Tanida here to get to the inside, he's still going to leave that red-blue angled the same way. And if he's on the outside, he's probably not shot rock. If he's on the outside, he sure can't afford to bounce very far either.
Well, it's not the worst way to miss that shot with a little bit of tolerance light. The stagger's not great, but we'll see what red can do to try to capitalize on this. Just try to come around and sink one, and then maybe force that kind of double peel potentially for blue after. We'll see what they elect to do, but there's a chance here that, again, with that big weight, can try to rip things up still.
Yeah, if he opts to go that way, last end it made a lot of sense to peel because all the angles in the house were in their favor. Right now in the house, angles not really favoring them. Now this one might be a little strong.
A little heavy and gives them that pocket, so right away the draw is in. And yeah, just that few inches a little heavy and can really bite you in the butt, so to speak.
Yeah. But not the same advantage here for Tanida to go after the guards because he's only got that one rock in the 4-foot and the angle favors Raniseth and Crough to get rid of it. So you kind of got to leave the protection up, and fortunate that they left him a pocket. Now he just has to make it. You won't see the percentages quite as high in the doubles as you do in the 4-player. It's tough. You've only got one brusher. In this case, they've decided to keep a player in the house to hold the broom, so the brusher has to get up and chase it before he can get a brush stroke in.
Yeah, doubles is a lot of close enough, you know. It's
yeah,
it's a little bit of a 40%, you know, rather than an 80 or 90 sometimes.
Well, I don't know if I'd go
40% can win you a game.
I don't know if I'd go 40, but whereas you'll see the top players in a 4-player game, you expect the percentages to be around 85, and in doubles, it's probably going to be more like 70. And if you're playing 80 in doubles, you're probably winning pretty handily.
Perfect spot for that draw, and Sean, you just saw how much those rocks are coming over and just getting right in there, touching that red rock to the right of our screen first. Oh, they don't like the release of that likely. Let's see where this goes. Changes the shape.
Yeah, that's not the worst result because there was a pocket behind the blue. If you didn't move one of them there, even peeling the double guard, you still weren't going to be able to get that blue one out. Now there's a way to get the blue out. Actually, a nose hit on the blue at the top of the 12 probably kills all 3 blues.
Yeah.
So, Tanida still got a rock left? Yes, I think so. See, he's got to be real careful where he puts this one.
Yeah, protecting against that. Any one of those, especially since we just saw Evan throw that. You know, if he throws it again, like you said, that nose in the blue, you're in business. Yuta Matsumura with his third and final shot here in the second end. They have a 2-0 lead in Martensville. Their first game of the Aly Jenkins Mixed Doubles Memorial. Quite the talented team. Number 4 in the world, comes to this country around this time of year and just puts up win after win after win. Very successful in the Super Series as well. Playing the guard here. Not exactly the way you wanted to miss that, being a little bit heavier, Sean. How are they lined up?
Well, they're close enough together that if you hit it off nose, it's going to drag a bit. So you'd have to kind of defer to the players on the ice where they need to hit this, but it sure looks like you could make 3 blues fly here. And the 2 reds would be left. The one in the middle of the 2 blues is going to jam. The other one won't even get touched. Now you almost don't have to play it. He almost left you a way to get at it direct, but they're going to play the double raise.
Evan Crough throwing the middle 3. Just have to watch this big weight hit. See where this ends up.
I don't know if he wanted to hit it on that side. He dragged it a little too straight back, yeah.
Made lots of granite go. A lot of this new granite here in Martensville.
A way to get at it direct, but they're going to play the double raise.
Evan Crough throwing the middle three. Just have to watch this big weight hit. See where this ends up.
I don't know if he wanted to hit it on that side. Inside of the blue on the top of the four. Still leaves the red sitting shot and it's corner frozen. There's not a lot that Matsumura would be throwing now. There's not a lot she can do with that stone, but you know, it's only one that they're facing now, and she can make two very difficult here.
All right, final stone here in the second end for this Japanese team. Going to play a little bit of weight and just try to get rid of these.
Blast them out.
Key is to hold this rock out. It's over curling a little bit. Very nice.
Well, that we saw last weekend in the first event as well. These new rocks, very lively striking bands. So when you make good contact on a rock like that, they will spill out of the rings.
Well, final stone here in the second. The draw to...
I think she's hitting it with where they put the broom.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, my bad. I just looked away briefly for a second. Yeah, sorry. The hit here to try to score a point. Sorry, go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, no, I just looked at the where they were discussing where to throw it. It looked like ice for a hit. So now, I mean, they discussed the hit last end too and didn't play it, but
final stone here for Kaylee Raniseth, her second and final of the end on this right away.
Yeah, there's a guard out front. She's going to be tight to the guard. Like really tight to the guard. Can he roll it in to get second? No.
Will not. So that will be a steal of two, a second steal of two in this game. We'll be right back for Martensville.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Hello and welcome back to Martensville and the Aly Jenkins Mixed Doubles Memorial in the Martensville Curling Club. Sean Joyce, Marty Thompson alongside you here today watching this game between Matsumura, Tanida, and Raniseth Crough, and this Japanese team up to a 4-0 lead. Sean, your thoughts on how they performed thus far, getting those two pretty well executed steals here to open up this opening game for them?
Yeah, well, they really dominated the first end. They had all the angles. They didn't so much in the second, but they were able to get out of it in a nice blast at the end. Left her sitting two. It's just that's a shot that I think Kaylee will tell you she's just got to make it. She was up against it really in the first end, but that was a very makeable shot that she missed in the last one. We haven't really talked about the format yet because they were underway when we started here. It's 18 teams. Here in this event, they are playing round-robin pools, so uneven pools. Two of the teams will have 5 teams in them. This is Pool B, 5 teams in this pool, so they'll play 4-game round-robin, all the teams in their own pool, but the 2 pools that only have 4 teams will play 1 game against somebody from one of the other 4-player pools, and then 8 teams through to the playoffs, and it all happens fast. Mm-hmm. Every game really is so important in these small pools.
Yeah, doubles is fantastic like that too. Just quick games. Spiels can feel like a whirlwind for sure. So Tanida's trying to come around here.
Would like to get this one in the top of the 4 foot somewhere. They tapped back on the first one, but they're in good spot in the back of the button.
Yeah, you talked about the percentages, Sean, for players. It's, you know, the percentages of based on who's going to score in each end really just comes down to these first couple of shots. And even though that rock drifted a little bit farther than they wanted to, this is still a great shape for this Japanese team, and they're already looking quite good for potentially forcing here, or maybe even scoring another two.
Yeah, this is a big shot for Evan. This is, you know, he's got a pocket. He can get into it and be shot rock, and you know, if he gets shot rock, there's a pretty good chance they score this end. The problem is there's not a whole lot of scoring area for them to get more than one.
You see just the whip action on this rock. It won't curl as much as they wanted just because a little bit extra weight, but that's still a good spot for that red rock.
Yeah, it's okay. Would have liked to get some piece in front of the other blue. There's the opportunity for Yasumasa to come down and do the same thing, really. He won't want to move it that far. If he moves it, well, maybe a foot and sits kind of on the corner of his own, he could be sitting two, and this stone that he's about to deliver will be very difficult to get rid of. Even if he just moves it a few inches and sitting one and in the pocket, it's pretty good. That looks like a lot of weight.
Yeah, maybe just a smidge too much. If you can keep it out, little bumps, okay?
Yeah, you want to get at least to the nose, though. The weight's not as bad as it looked when you...
And surrounding this red rock here in the 4 foot.
There's nothing wrong with that because there's angle blue onto the red. Tough for Evan to do much with that blue stone.
Yeah. Maybe he's kind of just, are they just planning to kind of just draw on top of that red and see if they'll have something on it afterwards?
I would think they would like to get to the face of the one that was just delivered and maybe release it a little bit. You move the back blue one so that there's a way to get that blue out. Right now, Matsumura and Tanida could come around. It doesn't look good from the hacks, but the way this ice curls, they could come around from the intern side, nudge that blue onto the shot stone, and the blue's not going anywhere because there's another blue there to catch it. So you'd like to at least move the blue at the back of the button if you could.
Trying to maintain some momentum on this rock as it comes across the center line, and...
Oh, he's got great line. If they could have moved the back one, the middle blue still doesn't go anywhere.
It maybe has just moved it so blue doesn't have that way of coming around and tapping, maybe just sort of playing the red the other way. So this is going to force this Japanese team to guard, which is the right call.
Yeah, if they were to play that other shot now, they'd lose their back blue. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, on last rock, they could do that. If they make the guard here, depending what Evan does with his last one, they've still got that shot around the outside, play the blue onto the red. They'll lose their own blue backing, I think, now because they're touching. But if you take away this side first, it's not going to leave much for Kaylee with her last one.
There's also those setups and doubles where sometimes you just look at the 4 foot and you're like, it's probably going to be one red.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to see 5 or 6 rocks touching the 4 foot. It's only 1 point.
You're like, you know what? If I'm going to hazard a guess, I'm just going to say red's going to score one this end. We'll see, though. We'll see what kind of magic this team out of Calgary can pull out to try to get maybe even a deuce. That one overcurls maybe a hair more than they wanted to, but the question is there even enough real estate in there for red to activate something else? Or even with the shot rock to try to put that into a position where it could score later. I'm not entirely sure.
I think you have to, if you're going to try to score a multiple here, and the scoreboard says maybe you need to. All I'm seeing is the double peel on the blues, so over the top so that it comes back. You actually want to make contact with that red in the top of the center line, because if you don't release the 2 blues off the button, there's no shot to score 2.
Yeah, totally agreed. So even if it was open to them, hitting that red onto the two blues wouldn't be the worst thing I've ever seen.
No,
for a sort of a last chance at the end of a doubles end.
These rocks are so lively that it might go. I mean, it would only have to spill out of the 4-foot.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's the play here, peeling something.
This is not the one I'd be peeling.
Looks like they're attacking the red one first. There we go. Blue one first, maybe. Let's see where this rock ends up here. Final stone for Evan Crough, who throws the middle three rocks for Crough Raniseth. Another sailor. Let's see where this blue ends up.
Over the top and back? No. Needed to be just a little thinner.
It almost skinnied that blue rock. That could have been
a disaster, yeah.
I don't think they would have seen that one coming. So put the guard back up here, I'd imagine, for Matsumura Tanida. As Matsumura goes down for her shot.
Yeah, now it's just a question of where do you want to put the guard. They move the blue far enough that if you leave this guard completely on the other side of the center line, there's probably a port to run the red one through. If you can overlap it just a sliver, I don't know that there's anything you could run back.
Final stone here for this team in the third end, up 4-0. This is running a little bit on them, eh?
Yeah, a long ways out.
Certainly struggle throwing that guard weight, and that's going to go to the top 12. Is there something here?
She can see all of it, though. She could hit that on the nose. Now the question is, can she throw it hard enough to get in that red, blue line in the 4-foot? Will that middle blue one go? And I mean, it might, because these striking bands are so lively.
Yeah, just bumping up that rock and just having them completely locked on is going to really make the difference here at the end in terms of what this final shot could be.
Yeah. Well, and you need to hit the blue one at the top of the 12-foot, pretty much right on the nose. When it comes straight back and catches half a rock on the red, that angle that the red-blue is at, you'll get ever so slight amount of drag, which, again, will help maybe spill that blue far enough. I mean, there's not a ton of room there to get much drag, but that's the angle, the right angle to get the drag you need.
Okay, so final stone here in this third end. Looking to get a couple points on the board, this team from Calgary, and change the momentum of this game a little bit. Looks awfully tight. Going to try to keep this out past the guard. They will do so. Lovely little bit of shot making there to score 2. That's 2 for red here, making this 4-2 after 3. We'll be right back from Martensville.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Saskatchewan, you know SaskTel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. With SaskTel sponsorships, we get to be part of your community. We're here with you, and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. SaskTel cares. Always has, always will. To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
Hello and welcome back to Martensville in the Aly Jenkins Mixed Doubles Memorial. Marty Thompson and Sean Joyce with you. And Sean, let's just take a minute to appreciate that hit we saw at the end of that last end. Get a couple points on the board, this team from Calgary, and change the momentum of this game a little bit. Looks awfully tight. Going to try to keep this out past the guard. They will do so. Lovely little bit of shot making there to score 2.
The raystone actually spins all the way into the forefoot. That was the extra factor there, because as you see, that blue one wasn't going to go very far, but it went far enough when she spun into the forefoot to get the second point. And if they're going to score points 2 at a time all game long, we're going to need a bigger scoreboard.
Welcome to doubles. 2-2-5, 5-5-2, something like that.
Yeah.
Then the game's over.
Let's see. I see 6s on the scoreboards, lots in doubles. I haven't ever called one yet. I'd like to see. I'd like to get one on the call sheet.
I have scored and given up 6s, and they are fun. They are a great time on either side. I'll tell you that.
Oh, I was going to say, I would imagine the one you scored was more fun than the one you gave up.
In my case, if you're not laughing, you're crying. So it kind of works out. Nice little tap back here. Again, just having those rocks circling the forefoot is always quite a nice shape in doubles to have. So we'll see what red can manage to do. Yeah, if you attack on that side, you give them the double. So curious which side they want to draw on and where exactly they want this red rock. Maybe even meld it on that blue or something.
Yeah, it's an interesting setup to start this in, because they actually drew to the top of the forefoot rather than the freeze, which is, can be a great spot, but we'll have to see how it develops.
And try to keep this wide as much as they can. And a little bump, and those reds are certainly available, but so is that. Just that nice little blue tap back. And again, just try to see if you can even move a blue rock over to try to get away from the red tap on the left-hand side of our screen. That's the thing that this team's going to have to watch out for. I'm curious why they wouldn't even maybe go after that first. You're giving the other team a chance to potentially get right into the button. If you nose this, there's still going to be an opportunity to get one in there melded.
Yeah. Mind you, it looks like they're playing this with fairly quiet weight, and if you can keep your shooter right there, that's still a powerful position to keep your shooter in.
You don't really want to let this rock curl up considering how much movement we have. And it gets by quite nicely. And that'll work pretty good for this team.
Yeah,
Blue
it's
double.
Right. I think they probably would have liked to keep their blue right on the face of their own stone so that they would have had the tap available, but
it's tricky when you get throwing that kind of,
for
tap weight, and it's curling that much, and it's, you only get maybe 1 or 2 of those all game in a traditional game of doubles, and it's kind of that we have to do it. So let's try to lean in and try to figure it out.
I think Evan's looking at the over-the-top double on the blues here. This is going to be, he's going to have some weight on this again.
Couple ways to miss this, but you want to make sure you keep this out for sure. The nose is not great. This looks a little tight. And he stuffs it at the back. Well, the good news for Raniseth Crough is that they can attack at both sides. And I think that's what this Japanese team is noticing here, is that, you're not going to be able to take away both shots. It's got to figure out which one makes the most sense. And how can you get another rock in there, ideally?
Yeah. I mean, if you could get to the one that that they threw on the last one, which you can. It doesn't look great from the hex because it's dead buried. But if you could even just tap it up I think they're looking at coming around it. This is not a bad idea either. It's a little risky.
Yeah.
He's going to play the red. If you catch the blue at the back of the button, you could actually kill both reds. The risk is if you hit the red a little thin, you stuff it, and it's shot rock frozen.
Right.
Here's the difference, though, between the precision you see in doubles and the precision that you have to live with or what you have to live with in doubles versus what you could make in 4 players. In 4 players, you wouldn't hesitate to play that double on the reds.
Yeah.
Because you've got 2 brushers who could get on it right out of your hand, and you just trust that they can hold the line for you. Here, that's a little too much risk, especially when you've already got a 2-point lead and you're shot rock.
It's also important to note too the risk management side of the game in doubles is a lot different than 4-person as well, right? It's
that's true.
When do you want to kind of make a move like that, knowing that there's I'm not saying there's going to be a 6-ender in this game, but there's going to be a couple more big ends. So when is it worth it? And a lot of the times, we're finding that the better teams out there, they're quite good at just picking when that time is, and it's maybe not in the 4th end here when you're up by 2, and maybe save it for your last shot of the end, right? This is going to be a little heavier than they wanted. It looks like. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's just not a good result.
And as we said there, red can still attack that button on either side still. So that's ideally not really what you wanted to do.
No. They were looking to just bite the top of the 4-foot. It's just heavy.
The tolerance was off on that one for sure. Evan Crough here with the draw. His final in the 4th end. His team's bound by 2. A chance to really sink one in here, but it's got to move, I think.
Yep. He'd like to at least get to the inside corner of the one that was just thrown. And one thing there, it's universal. It doesn't matter whether it's 2-player or 4-player. When you throw to the backing, and that might be what he just did there, thinking, well, he's got a pocket. I got to make sure I'm there. But if you throw to the backing and you make sure you're there, now it doesn't curl quite as much when that little bit heavy. And
especially on ice like this, you can see it, even though we're not there in Martensville, you can certainly tell it's not going to be as forgiving.
Well, it's a nice thing about these aggressive stones is that all the movement comes when they start to slow down. So you can make some outstanding draws, but if you don't match your weight to the broom you took, it can make you look silly because it won't curl until it starts to slow down, and that's where all the big movement is. And his was just a little bit warm, and it moves too late and just chips off that stone. Now they might not have much to look at with Kaylee's last one, and they won't have last rock this end.
Final stone here for Tanida. Goal might be if you could ever somehow get well over there. This might be a fast path as well. Hard to tell, obviously, from where we are. You kind of want this to get in there.
Yeah, it's another one where he needs to get to the inside of the one he threw on the last attempt. Got just to the nose.
Well, looks like it might be there or that.
Well, I think you're angling the red in to get there.
Yeah, you've got quite a margin for error. You get any real chunk of that rock, it should be okay.
Yeah, I still think you have to throw this as a straight draw, though. If you start trying to move blues, it's real easy to pop the red out into the open, and there's a lot of blues touching the 4-foot.
Totally, yeah, 100%.
So this is still not an easy shot. You're trying to match line and weight. An angle raised like that is a tough shot in 4-player. It's tougher still when we're only looking at 2 players. Now, Evan is going to come down and brush right out of her hand, so that'll help. Mm-hmm. But the trade-off for that is you don't have anybody in the house calling line. And it's easier to call line from the house than it is for the thrower. We all think we can do it as throwers. It's not the same. A
final stone here for Raniseth Crough. Kaylee taking this one, that little soft tap, push that red into the forefoot, hopefully right into the button, and try to glue one in there for a point. If they get one in there right, it'd be hard for this Japanese team to get it out, but it looks like this might just overcurl on them.
Over-curling. She could kill her own here.
And that is not the way you want to miss that shot. Blue sitting 3 with a little tap back, I think, to sit 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little one. Yep. Be enough to take that back. It looks like it.
No guards in the way either. It's...
Yeah, something a little soft there would triple their advantage in this game.
It's not going to be 6, but it might be 5.
So just something nice and easy right there, just to move that red rock back a foot or so, and then they would be in business here in their opening game here in Martensville.
Yeah, with that ice, I don't think she's looking to move it just a foot or so. This looks like she's going to throw full head at it.
I'm just saying that's the minimum requirement, Sean. They're exceeding the minimum requirement. You know?
Yep.
So
They're going to play this. They're going to play this as a takeout. She's not whipping it by any means, but
Chiaki Matsumura here, final stone in the 4th end, looking to take advantage of this hammer in a big way. Coming out, looked a little narrow. See if you'll able to keep this rock out. They seem to like that line. I think we do too up here.
Gonna need to curl a little bit.
Perfect. Well done. That's a big score here in the 4th end. We'll be right back in Martensville.
On behalf of the volunteer board, the support team, and all the families who will be helped by this year's Sandra Schmirler Foundation Telethon, thank you for being a part of this historic moment. $1,126,014, a new record, exceeding our goal, and most importantly, countless families from St. John's to Victoria to Yellowknife and babies in over 100 hospitals in between will be impacted by your generosity. And we couldn't do it without the amazing partnerships we have with Curling Canada, TSN, and Net2Phone Canada. They connect you, our generous supporters, with so many of the Scotties participants and our volunteers on Telethon Day. A special thank you to Jocelyn and Brett for sharing little Luke Gallant's stories, and all of the families across this great country who shared stories of how Sandra's legacy has helped their little ones grow up and become champions. In each of the last 3 years, because of generous supporters like you, the Sandra Schmirler Foundation has been able to give back $1 million to help babies in every province and territory. And this year's telethon will ensure we can continue that incredible momentum. Thank you for helping champions start small.
Thank you, Canada!
Welcome back to the Martensville Curling Club here, the Aly Jenkins Mixed Doubles Memorial. Marty Thompson and Sean Joyce with the call, and that was a big score for Team Matsumura Tanida, a 5-ender in the 4th to go up 9-2, and obviously got a couple misses out of that, Sean, but some well-executed shot making from this team, but also, you know, some good strategy. Even though they're missing the odd draw heavy, it still ended up working out quite well.
Yeah, and we get our first look here at the power play.
And that's just a little too strong. It's tough. It's tough when you want to try to throw it into the coffin. I get the impulse to do it, but that's what can go wrong if you do end up throwing the kind of weight that's required to send that all the way to the other end.
And you know, for the viewers that maybe don't watch a lot of doubles, that's one of the biggest differences here in the doubles as opposed to the 4-player curling. It's not just your opponent's stones that you can't remove. You can't remove your own stones either. And it's not just free guards. It's anything. So
Now, something you can do is is remove the stone that you threw. As in, you can obviously throw it out the back of the house. So another way for them to play that tick is actually to go on the left side of your screen as you see it and sort of send it towards the middle. And then you obviously lose your shooter. So in this case, that's totally fine.
Well, and that's what they were trying to do. She just hit it way too full and maybe a little too hard.
So staggered guards here and a chance for this Japanese team to come around. And, this is where the power plays are tough. You only throw this shot once or twice in the game, depending on if you actually get, the same side on the second power play, if it's even played. But to get this kind of line right on this come around and to sit top 8 is really a crucial shot in this discipline.
Well, and you may not even play it the twice. In this case, because Matsumura and Tanida are up, they're going to try to choke off that corner. If they were trailing, they'd still have to throw center guards and try to steal, which is tougher when you don't have the pre-position stones in the middle. To go back to that push shot on the corner, though, I one other thing I wanted to touch on with that shot has been played for the last few years in doubles and has become so good, so well played in doubles. You've seen it start to make its way into the 4-player curling. When they can't peel a corner guard off the start, they'll try to push it into the house so that they can hit it on the next one. And that all started, you'll see it lots in 4-player, but it started in doubles.
Most certainly. Yeah, it's in my opinion, it's the ideal strategy. If there's ways you can miss it as well, if you're ever light or whatever, there's other ways to miss the shot. And, I think especially when new people start playing doubles and they have the power play, they just kind of stare at it for 5 minutes. They're like, wait, what should I do? Just come around? That doesn't seem like that's the right answer. And if you're playing it at home, that kind of is that answer. It's worth really trying at club level because you can really change the complexion of a power play and really just take it away from that first shot.
Yeah, it goes against your nature though, right? If you've played a lot of 4-player curling, we don't want to chase around the corner guard. But it's the simplest shot, right? Your fewer angles. The tough part about playing that chip into the rings, playing it from the outside, 2-player, 4-player, it really doesn't matter. It's very rare that you're throwing, look where the broom would have had to have been to make that chip. How often do you slide that wide on the sheet? It's a tough shot.
Well, again, that's why it's certainly worth practicing for myself, and I'm sure other 1 in 5 players is just getting out there and really just working on that type of shot because you really just need to do it again in the, I guess this is the 5th end, but 6th or 7th or even 8th. It's just something you're going to have to do, and you're going to have to master it in order to, avoid getting these big ends in power plays. And, if you do make it right, very rarely are you going to give up, a big score. It really nullifies that. But if you do miss it, the risk just goes up and up each shot for sure. So another come around, maybe just a little less weight. These reds lined up as guards are quite interesting, Sean? I'm not sure if they'll come into play.
Yeah, there's some space between them, so there's enough room between them that depending on how you hit the first one, you can manipulate the angle that they're going to come back. There's always going to be the potential to use them then.
So just sitting the 1. What do you like here?
From what we've seen of it, and we haven't seen as much play to the corner, but it certainly looks like you could throw hack weight and probably get to that blue stone that was just thrown. And if you get to it with hack, the back blue should slide through the back, and that pre-positioned stone is shot rock again. Looks like they're playing this as a straight draw.
Trying to come right around. I imagine back of the house kind of weight. How about back of the house is the question. Gets a little nudge. And it is in there for shot. But it is open.
Yeah, they were kind of caught one way or the other. If you put 3 brushstrokes on it to get it by, it probably doesn't stop for shot rock. And it would have been dead behind those 2 blues, so you'd never been able to kill them. That would have jammed.
So Tanida settles into the hack here to remove the red rock, just getting a little bit more ice, a softer weight sort of tap back.
Probably like to roll this towards the center line too, take the play away from those corners.
Totally, yeah.
If you sit right there, we know there's a freeze coming.
Yeah. A chance to get a deuce for sure that way. So here comes the hit from Tanida. Up and trying to keep it out. Seems like quite good weight here. They have not missed many shots today, especially hits. And that will roll away from center and just be just out. And the red will be out counting it, it looks like.
Yeah, that's still fine. It's better there than leaving them a freeze possibility. This draw that they're playing is really tough. Obviously, and they would have had a chance to practice before. I don't know whether they threw a number of these shots, but they don't feel like they can get at that rock with hack weight. So this is their next best opportunity to get shot rock is just the straight draw.
Yeah, practicing the inside outs are tough. Usually we'll try to throw just maybe one sometimes if we can remember, or sometimes it's just, you know, if you've played it already in the spiel, you maybe sort of can take a guess, but that weight is not quite close enough. And now blue has a chance to set something up for themselves here and make the draw tough.
Yeah, I'm at this with this scoreboard. I think you draw an opposite side of the 4-foot.
Yeah.
You would hate to try to block the draw and then leave them a double for 2.
I think that's what Tanida's taking a look at first here, was just that first gut instinct is right around there. Yeah, make that double tough, make any kind of hit tough, I should say. And see where you end up here. 9-2 after 4 ends. We're nearly done the 5th here in Martensville, the opening game of the Aly Jenkins McDoubles Memorial for both these teams.
Yeah, and the way they've set it up so far, I just looking at the draw myself, is the 4 pools here. So they've got 4 sheets of ice here in Martensville as well. So they've got 1 game from each pool so far through the opening draw. So Lisa Weigel, John Epping in the same pool here, and they won their opening draw. So a chance for Matsumura and Tanida, if they can hold this score, to stay tied to top the pool. On the one hand, you hate talking standings this early, but in these small pools, every game is so important. Like 2 losses and you're probably out.
Oh, for sure. Certainly, yeah.
Or at best, you're playing a tiebreaker very late tomorrow night.
So the draw is right in here to the 4-foot. And Raniseth and Crough just take a quick look. We should note that Raniseth and Crough are playing in the next draw. They'll be taking to the ice and draw 3, and then draw 4. We'll see Matsumura and Tanida come back out onto the ice later on this afternoon. So final stone here for Kaylee Raniseth from Calgary. Remove that blue stone. Get up to 3 points here in the 5th, and we'll see where they end up after that. Make sure it doesn't come across center and dive like we saw a couple of those rocks do in the morning draw. And that's a well-executed shot right on the nose, top of the button, and shakes around here for Raniseth and Crough. Matsumura and Tanida take the win here 9-3 after 5 ends. Sean, that was a pretty comprehensive performance from this team from Japan.
Yeah, they had a very solid game. Really, the only end that they might have been in the slightest bit of trouble was the second, and by the end of the end, it was just should have been an open shot for 1, and that miss to fall down 4 early kind of forced Raniseth and Crough to play a little bit more aggressively. And when you have to play aggressively against a team that's playing well, sometimes it goes off the rails. But you can't play conservative. You got to try to win it. It doesn't show at the end whether you lost by 1 or lost by 7. You know, go after it. You got to give them credit for that.
Absolutely. For Sean and myself and everyone here the Curling Stadium. Thank you very much for tuning in. Again, we've got games all weekend long here from Martensville. Check out the Curling Zone YouTube page for those games and those links. Signing off from Martensville. Thank you so much.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
SaskTel Be Kind Online wants to stop cyberbullying. Want in on the action? We award up to $1,000 for youth initiatives that help spread kindness and prevent bullying. What great idea do you have to help stop bullying? SaskTel can help. Go to BeKindOnline.com and apply for a grant today. Together, we can make a difference.